Coming up on the bench, Syracuse men's lacrosse, after a terrific March, went up against two juggernauts, Notre Dame and Cornell. Two tough battles means two close games, but did the Cuse clutch up once again? We'll tell you all about it.
If you'd like to leave the clutch behind, maybe put your heart medication down while watching Syracuse lacrosse, check out the women's team. The Orange had a combined 30 straight wins against the foes they faced this week. Would Loyola, Louisville, or Cornell party for the first time in years against SU?
I know you love a party, Ian. And look, when I hear April, I don't think of the showers that bring the May flowers. I think of the diamond. Syracuse softball is back in Central New York. The Orange had quite the series this past weekend. We'll break it all down. We'll talk Syracuse sports. Best time of the week on the bench starts right now. Welcome into the CitrusTV studio for On the Bench. Ian Nicholas to my left. I'm Ben Spector. Ian, this is a little bit different. Usually you're with Jack Gordon. Usually I'm with Joe Puccio. Nonetheless, we're teamed up. We're ready to talk some Syracuse sports. But we're also ready to talk some headlines. Syracuse men's hoops has struck gold early in the offseason. And kind of funny saying off-season, even though the Final Four is this week, but forward Eddie Lampkin Jr. yesterday on his social media announced that he is committed to Syracuse. The senior entered the transfer portal last week from Colorado, and Lampkin can be a big weapon in the front court for the Cuse. And when I say big, I mean big. The Houston native is 6'11" and 265 pounds. Syracuse is Lampkin's third school. The forward spent 3 years at TCU before going to Colorado, and last year with the Buffaloes, Lampkin averaged around 10 points per game with 7 rebounds on a nightly basis.
Well, the reason why Lampkin is in is because Malik Brown is out. The sophomore announced Monday that he entered the portal. This came a month after Brown told Syracuse.com he'd return next season despite being unsure of his role. The role SU's 6'8" forward played this year was glue guy. Following Naheem McLeod's season-ending injury, Brown started the final 18 games out of position at center. Against the best bigs in the conference, the All-ACC defensive team selection more than held his own.
Malik Brown is a loss on the court, but Syracuse lost a key contributor on the sideline. Associate head coach Jerry McNamara has officially moved on. McNamara put pen to paper as the head coach of Siena's men's hoops on Monday, then had his opening press conference on Tuesday. McNamara is the 19th head coach in the history of the Saints. Plus, this is the first head coaching opportunity in McNamara's career. That leaves a hole on Syracuse's bench. But for more on how that will get filled, as well as the outlook on the program for next season, let's move our way to the wall where Ian is standing with Cuse Countdown analyst Ryan Bridges. Guys, I know you have a lot to break down.
Well, Ben, the first thing I got to break down is just when I thought the height discrepancy was over with you and I anchoring a show together, we bring in Ryan Bridges to talk some ball.
I hate to mess things up.
You know, you're just always, Jerry McNamara messed things up because so much positivity going into this offseason, and then you lose one of the best, most nostalgic players and a great coach, the associate head coach for just 1 year, Ryan, but he goes to a 4-win Siena team a year ago. Why was now the right time for him to jump ship?
Well, Jerry McNamara was really emotional when talking about this, Ian. He referenced a lot of conversations that he had with his wife, his kids, his parents, and it took him a long time for him to arrive at this decision, but he referenced one conversation that he had with his wife just a few weeks ago that helped him clear up some things and helped him make that final decision. Take a listen.
Possibility of this coming to fruition. And we started talking about how emotional it will be. And she said to me, and I'll take it, she doesn't realize it, but when she said it to me, she said, "Our happiness is simple." And the more I thought about it, as soon as she said it to me, I knew I was ready. Because she was right. I'm very simple. We're very simple. I love to coach basketball. I love the game.
Now, Jerry McNamara also said it was pretty simple, his philosophy as a head coach, and that's 3 letters, W-I-N. He just wants to win at Siena, nothing else. And Jerry McNamara, fun fact, Ian, also got a taste of what Siena was like because Syracuse, right, played in the Elite Eight when Siena College hosted the Elite Eight back in 2003, and most Syracuse fans, Ian, they know what happened in 2003. So Syracuse, Jerry McNamara, they got a taste of Siena, and now he gets to put his imprint on that program.
Yeah, of course. I was born in the year 2003. That's what everybody
So
should.
was I.
I mean, that's what people will remember from that great year in Syracuse history. They're going to remember the great year that sophomore Malik Brown had for this team, Ryan. We talked about him during our headlines. Everybody thought that out of that sophomore class, he would be the one that stays, but he's now in the transfer portal, and what are the Orange losing in the All-ACC defensive man?
I mean, you mentioned All-ACC. This is a guy that led the ACC in steals last season, so they're losing the best two-way player on this team, plain and simple. He had to play such a big role. Ben mentioned it at the top of the show, but you lose such a great player in Malik Brown, and there's really no way that you can get a guy like Malik Brown back. They bring in Eddie Lampkin, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But like I said, Malik Brown averaging about 10 and 7, really a great player. And you kind of worry, was he worried about his role with Donnie Freeman coming in at a 5-star, an All-American, played in the All-American game this week? Did he want to accept that role, the 4 or 5? We don't really know. It's just funny that Malik Brown said that he was originally going to stay, but with the new role of the NIL and the transfer portal, things started to shake up a little bit, and maybe a new opportunity came up for Malik Brown somewhere else around the country.
Do I stay or do I go? That is the age-old question. For Eddie Lampkin, you already touched on it. From TCU to Colorado to Syracuse, he most likely fills in as the starting 5 on next year's team. But when you've broken down his game, Ryan, what do you like most from the Buffs transfer?
Well, you like him around the rim, right? That's where he takes about 88% of his field goals. They're going to be around the rim, and he shoots about a 61% clip when it's taking shots around the basket. So that's something you like a lot about Eddie Lampkin. So you're not going to really see him stretch the floor, but he's got some jump hooks. He's got a bit of a post game. He's got some inside stuff. The stuff you don't really like about Eddie Lampkin, though, might be the defensive end, right? Malik Brown, I mentioned him earlier being an All-ACC defensive player. He had 5 blocks in 1 game for Syracuse last season. That's the amount of blocks that Eddie Lampkin had all season at Colorado. Just 5 blocks the entire year. And if you're going to play the 5 for Syracuse, a team that desperately needed some defense last season, you're going to want some more rejections there. So you worry about Eddie Lampkin there, but he also averaged 10 and 7 just like Malik Brown did this last year at Syracuse. So you're going to be able to see a lot more of stuff on the offensive end that you saw from Malik Brown, but the defensive end, it becomes a concern.
Do you think the DJ Burns comparison is too crazy? At 265 pounds.
I think that's a little crazy. I think that's just a little crazy. I think DJ has such incredible skill around the basket. His size is a bit more imposing than Lampkin, although Lampkin does have some size of himself.
Well, some people say Ben Spector's got imposing size, but some people say that there's movement on both the men's and women's side of Syracuse basketball, and for that, we continue our headlines with Ben.
Ian, one of those things is true. No one's scared of my 5'5.5" frame, but from the men's side to the women's side, there's been a lot of movement for Syracuse women's hoops since that loss to UConn last week. Guard Kennedy Perkins announced on Instagram that she is entering the transfer portal. The sophomore played spot minutes throughout the season, but remember in the win over Arizona in the first round of the NCAA tournament, Perkins played the entire second half and scored 6 fourth-quarter points. Plus, just today, per Talia Goodman of the Next Hoops, forward Alyssa Latham has also entered the portal. The freshman averaged nearly 9 points per game with 7 boards and was a key starter throughout the season. So, Perkins and Latham are on their way out, but Isabel Verjao announced on Instagram that she is staying in her final year of eligibility. The caption, by the way, said, quote, "decided to keep smiling." I mean, this is why we play. Verjao averaged around 6 points per game to go along with 3 rebounds and returns for next season.
On the gridiron, Syracuse football coach Fran Brown threw his first dart at the class of 2026. SU landed Demetrius Samuel Jr. out of American Heritage in Florida. The versatile prospect is listed as an athlete by recruiting sites and by On3 as a 4-star. Samuel picked for Cuse over Florida, Minnesota, and Nebraska. For those who live more in the present, you're in luck. According to 24/7 Sports, the Orange's class next year is ranked 15th in the country.
I like the sound of that. 15th in the country. There are a lot of teams in the country. Well, history was made in the Dome this past weekend. Syracuse women's lacrosse's 22-12 victory over Louisville. Draw control specialist Kate Mashesky became the program leader in draw controls. What a way to celebrate senior day. Behind 16 DCs in the win, Mashesky passed Kayla Kempney and had 440 all-time. The grad student sits at 452 career draw controls after the Cornell game on Tuesday and still has tons of season left to add to that high total. All right, let's go to the men's side of lacrosse. It's been quite the week, so play the bagpipes. Let's go. Look, you can point to the fight song. That gets me excited for games. Notre Dame has a great fight song. Ian, how about those bagpipes, though?
Oh, yeah, I heard them. I was at Arlotta Stadium last weekend.
Were you fired up?
I was fired up. Ross Bergmaster, a Central New York native, playing for the other side and playing the bagpipes. That's got to be a twist in the night for the Orange. They should have got him to play the bagpipes here.
Oh, he did a great job. I'll tell you that for free. But Syracuse men's lacrosse had won 5 straight games entering this matchup with Notre Dame at Arlotta Stadium. The Orange had lost 5 consecutive matchups to the Irish, but this battle was a little bit different. It was a top 3 tilt. So was there something different in the air, or was this going to be the same old story? Buckle up, folks. Let's go to South Bend, Indiana. This is a beautiful place to play. Arlotta Stadium, a raucous environment. When you see the Notre Dame crest, you just think of great athletics, and Notre Dame has the best lacrosse team in the country, and it was off and running early. I mean, top 3 matchup, you think it's going to go back and forth. Early in this game, it was the Riley Gray show. Had a goal early, then his second goal made it 2-1 Notre Dame midway through the first quarter. Early on, back and forth these two teams went. Finn Thompson rips it home in the bottom right corner. That's his 13th goal of the year, and he knotted it up at 3. But Pat Cavanaugh, look, there's a reason why he's one of the best players in the country. Late in the first quarter, it became the Pat Cavanaugh show, and he was scoring at will. With just over a minute to go, he scored, and look at this shot. With seconds remaining in the first quarter, his second goal of the game, Notre Dame led 6-3 after the first frame. In the second quarter, Syracuse tried to creep back in it. Look at this shot by Luke Roa. You might see this goal on OTB top plays because he is just crafty around the crease, but Notre Dame had a response right away. Devon McClain with that goal, his 13th of the season. Will Angrick then helped him out as well. Notre Dame in the second quarter firing on all cylinders. It was about time we were going to mention Chris Cavanaugh's name, right? He rips it home where you think there's going to be no angle. Notre Dame went on a 4-1 scoring run. Seconds after that Cavanaugh goal, Will Lynch wins a faceoff, takes it the other end, and just scores. Notre Dame all over Syracuse in the first half. Remember, games are long. There's more than one half to be played. Fans are loving it at Arlotta Stadium. The Irish lead 10-5. Early in the second half, Sam English off a feed from Finn Thompson around Liam Entenmann. He scores, cuts the deficit to 4. Then on the other end, Jake Taylor had 2 goals in this sequence. Jake Taylor was making it work for Notre Dame, and remember, he crushed Syracuse just 2 years ago in Arlotta Stadium with 7 goals. He was having his way in the third quarter. In the fourth quarter, though, Finn Thompson trying to lead the charge for Syracuse to get back into this, and eventually we had to mention Joey Spallina's name. He only had 1 goal in this game, and that's pretty shocking considering he's Syracuse's leading scorer. That fan, look, he's a little tired because it's back and forth, but nonetheless, he's going to be pretty happy because you see that goal from Luke Roa. Sure, that might not make that fan happy, but this will. Liam Entenmann goes post to post, stops Jake Stevens on the doorstep. We got to slow this down. Look at that leaping save from Entenmann. There's a reason why he's one of the best goalies in the country. And then Eric Dobson with the icing on the cake. Notre Dame takes this one 14-12 in this top 3 tilt. And you look at that number on your screen. Will Lynch, 19 of 26 on faceoffs. Ian, he dominated the X.
Yeah, and he won over 20 in last year's matchup against the Orange, so nothing new from Lynch, but this is why you brought in both Mason Cohn and Johnny Mullen, Ben, because Mullen a top 100 recruit, Cohn a national championship caliber player at the Division III level in Tufts. These are the games that those two have to show up, but Cohn apparently was under the weather, so definitely a disadvantage there for Gary Gates' crew. Syracuse's face-off unit wouldn't have much time to dwell on the defeat. 3 days later, SU drove an hour down I-81 to Ithaca. Cornell was on deck, and as you can see, ready to brawl. Like the Orange, the Big Red dropped a pivotal conference game over the weekend. Cornell came up short at Penn in double overtime. Surely, there is no way the Big Red are going to get themselves in another double overtime game, right? 5-3 in the Ivy, 2-1 overall. The Big Red need a win at home. They dropped 6 spots in the rankings this week, and Joey Spallina dropped 7 points in this game. He averaged under 3 on the year against ranked teams, but Spallina wanted to make a statement in this one, and so did the Orange on a circus goal from Billy Dwan. With a long pull between the legs, the Orange start this game up 7-0. But that's a one-man wrecking crew. No, it's not Cole Curse, it's CJ Curse who gets Cornell on the board. But on the other offense, Pat March, the OC of Syracuse, got ejected. The refs missed a blatant offsides call in the first quarter. Pat March ejected. You rarely see that in college lacrosse. And the Big Red used that as motivation to try to creep back into this game. Joey Spallina creeping a BTB behind his shoulder. That's his signature shot. Owen Hiltz, a more traditional shot on the run, a score. The Orange are up 10-5. The offense still looks good without their offensive coordinator out there. Luke Roa from the wing. Syracuse up 6, 5 minutes to go second quarter. How do you beat Will Mark? Maybe you crash into him on the crease. The Big Red have a top 5 scoring offense in the nation, spinning a score from Spencer Wertheim. Still a 5-goal game because everybody clicking for Syracuse. Sam English, he's made a big splash in the last 2 games. And on the wing, Cornell brings it to within 4 at the break. I was at Shulkoff Field. I thought we were scoring 40 goals in this game. It would slow down, but not with Joey Spallina. He's flexing all over the Big Red after his hat-trick goal. SU up 5, but Cole Kirst, I'm sorry, CJ Curse, it's the biggest family in lacrosse. I was going to mess that up at some point. They go on a 7-goal run from late in the third to early in the fourth. They would not be silenced. Hugh Kelleher, Ryan Goldstein, the freshman, everybody chipping in. Our photog, Liam Griffin, doing his best in the elements to get what was a crazy sequence late. Cornell takes its first lead with 10 seconds to go. Sam English scores with 1.1 on the clock in regulation. We're going to overtime for the 3rd time this year if you're Syracuse men's lacrosse. Missed chances on both sides. CJ Curse for Cornell. For Syracuse, Luke Roa gets a great look and it doinks off the pipe. We're going to double overtime for the first time this season. A golden chance for Finn Thompson on the doorstep and a turnover for Syracuse. A bad slide. CJ Curse, that's your game. The Big Red walk it off in what many are calling the best game in college lacrosse all season. The Orange dropped to 0-3 in overtime, and we're going to take a quick look at something that shows you this is nothing new for Syracuse against Cornell. This rivalry, similarly to the Army rivalry, took a hiatus last season, but the Black Knights and the Big Red in their return to the big stage against Syracuse both pick up overtime wins against the Orange. And to break this down, we're going to send it over to Sam Corcoran at the wall with our own Ben Spector.
Ian, what a game that was. Syracuse falls in double overtime to Cornell, but I'm with one of our 3 men's lacrosse beat reporters, Sam Corcoran. And Sam, look, when you look at this Syracuse men's lacrosse team, there's been a lot of games against ACC opponents this season. There's been 2. That's more than 1. I qualify that as a lot. Syracuse 1-1, but how have the Orange really played against conference foes?
Well, Ben, it's been better than years past. You have to look at Syracuse's history against ACC opponents over the last few years. In 2021, 2-4 against the ACC. Then you look at the screen right now, 2022 and 2023, just 1-5, already off to a 1-1 start. So it's already a little bit promising for Syracuse. A 10-4 win over Duke, led by Brennan O'Neill, and one of the best offenses in the nation at the time. A statement defensive performance against Notre Dame. A little bit of trickiness, as you saw earlier, but a nice comeback by Syracuse. Shows they have some grit in them. SU fans should be hopeful about ACC play so far.
Well, this year, Sam, ACC play matters a little bit more given that this is the first year in men's lacrosse with the ACC tournament. So why should we really care about the ACC tournament? What does it really have to offer this year?
Well, I mean, bragging rights over the other teams, Ben. That's the big thing. You want to beat some of the top dogs in college lacrosse. The ACC, known to be one of the best college lacrosse conferences in the nation. Duke, Notre Dame, UNC, Virginia, and Syracuse, all top 4 teams this week minus UNC. And UNC, the next team that Syracuse faces, has Dave Petromala, who knows Syracuse just a little bit, the defensive coordinator last year. Meanwhile, Virginia, the last game of the season, the second best team in the nation in the Inside Lacrosse poll, second most points in the nation. Ben, this is a competitive conference. Winning the ACC tournament would be a huge boost for the NCAA tournament and an automatic bid.
And remember, only 4 teams make the ACC tournament. The 5th team in the conference does not make the tournament. All right, what's next for Syracuse going up against other ACC squads? What do they have to do to win, and who do they play?
Well, UNC and Virginia are the big ones, but Syracuse already has a good head start in ACC play. They've played 2 games. That's the most out of any ACC team. Duke and Notre Dame, the other 2 teams that they have played, and guess what? They played Syracuse. You look on your screen right there. All the ACC games for the remainder of the season. Syracuse only 2 more. There's only 2 less games than years past, Ben. It used to be 6, now it's 4. But the other team's getting a head start. That's why these games are important for Syracuse. 1-1 seems a little bit comfortable. You get that 1 win. But soon enough, if Syracuse loses this Virginia or UNC game, these other 4 teams could creep up, take over Syracuse. Then Syracuse misses the tournament. Coach Gate, after the Duke game, says his team hasn't proved anything yet, and he's completely right about it. It's crunch time for Syracuse. Every win matters for the ACC, and for Syracuse, these last 2 games are crucial, Ben.
Virginia and UNC, both big opponents for the Orange. Sam, thanks so much. Make sure to follow Sam on X at @the_Sam Corcoran, plus Adam Gotkin and Luke Burgess. Good follows to keep along with Syracuse men's lacrosse all season long. All right, we're headed to a break here on the Bench. Don't go anywhere, though. We got a lot in store. We're talking women's lacrosse on the other side, so stay with us here on Citrus TV.
My big man fingers are having a problem with these little tiny buttons.
Whoa, watch it there. Your blood pressure's gonna go through the roof.
Tell me about it. I'm trying to learn how to get it down. Instead, it keeps going up.
High blood pressure can increase the risk for heart attack or stroke. Learn how to keep yours at a healthy range.
Ever hear a voice command? Just say text barbershop to 97779.
That's not what I said.
Just give me that. Now my blood pressure's up.
Welcome back to On the Bench. Ian Nicholas alongside Ben Spector. Ben, we're going to keep talking lacrosse, but before we get there, you can keep it with lacrosse here on this question I'm throwing to you. Big threes in sports, your favorite. I gave you some time to think on this one.
You did. I had thought about it a lot, and I don't know. If I said the Nets.
Can you name one big 3?
Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Kevin Durant. They played 16 games.
Okay, so can I take that as your answer?
Sure.
All right, I'm sorry. The Nets, they have never won a championship. They don't have a great big 3.
They did win a playoff round.
Okay.
Can't take
Moral
that away
victories don't matter in my book.
In 5.
You know who cares in my book? Loyola. They win the Patriot League every year in women's lacrosse, and their big 3 features attackers Sydney Black and Georgia Latch, alongside midfielder Chase Boyle.
Can I change my answer?
You can change your answer.
Loyola.
There you go. Headed into this Greyhound showdown, all 3 of them top 20 scorers in the nation.
Why they're my favorite?
And that paired with the country's 11th ranked defense, I mean, when the big 3 plays defense too, that is deadly. Would it be enough for the number 7 Greyhounds to defeat the number 5 Orange? Not when Kate Mashevsky, Natalie Smith, and Maddie Baxter are winning draws to set the tone early in the game. Savannah Schweitzer, only one hat trick in her Syracuse career, make it 2. And she's celebrating like she's getting it every single game. But there's one of the big 3, Jace Boyle, with 6 goals on the game. That would tie a career high for her month of March. She also had that total against Penn State. Has been phenomenal. But Maddie Baxter, a midfielder herself, says, let's tie this thing up at 2 late in the first, and then a more traditional scoring option. Whoop, a spin and a score for Emma Ward. Her defender eats the turf, and Syracuse takes the lead. But on the other end, Elisa Fack-Laris, another equalizer early in the third. After that, the Orange say, enough funny business, time to go on a jog. Maybe a run, if you will. Natalie Smith, 1 goal. Emma Tyrell. After this game, Coach Kayla Trainer said she's playing like a Telloraton finalist. And she's making plays on one end while Iola is trying to respond on the other end. By the way, it's Loyola. I just had a brain fart. Jump shot in the score from Chase Boyle. Wouldn't be the only time we'd hear her name in this game, as previously mentioned. But the Orange getting themselves in a shootout. Peyton Rowley loves that feed from Olivia Adamson. SU up 1 at the break. Is that Joey Spallina? No, it's Emma Ward. Maybe the fellow Long Islander taught Mr. Joey Spallina that move. More goals to come. Emma Tyrell, the good old Emma Dilemma. Shout out executive producer Max Gifford. He coined that one. Loyola running out of offense late in this game. That goal from Chase Boyle. SU still down 4, now up 5. Emma Ward with one of her most productive games of the season. Chase Boyle does get that 6th goal late in the game, but would it really matter? Loyola, if they were trying to cover the spread in this one, they don't. Because Bianca Chevery, an underrated defender, holds strong, and Syracuse wins this one 16-13, 10th consecutive win for the Orange over the Greyhounds. And usually, Ben, when the Greyhounds win, it is their top 15 defense that does the trick, and it got sliced to pieces against the Greyhounds.
Well, when a Syracuse offense has Olivia Adamson, Maddie Baxter, Emma Tyrell, when Emma Ward is scoring goals where she's flinging shots behind her back, it's going to be tough to stop that. So this Loyola defense had a really tough time with a loaded Orange attack. So Syracuse is riding high after a big-time ranked win over the Greyhounds. With that victory, the Cuse was on a 5-game win streak entering senior day against Louisville. And this is a Cardinals side that the Orange have handled quite well. In the 14 matchups before this one, Louisville had only taken 1. That was in 2017. So how does this ACC clash fare? How do the Orange celebrate senior day? Let's go to the JMA Wireless Dome, shall we? Do they even celebrate senior day? Well, I'll tell you this. They do. You're about to see it. They celebrate it, but what about their on-field play? How do they start? Well, I'll tell you this much. The term back and forth affair is probably going to be mentioned about 3 times in the next 30 seconds. Olivia Adamson with that goal starts the scoring 1-0. Ryan Atkins knots it up at 1 apiece. Back and forth affair. That's one. The reason why, 7 free position goals for Louisville in this one. Maddie Baxter makes it 4-3. That's her 21st goal of the season. Kokoro Nakazawa with this tally 4-4. Back and forth affair. Ian?
2.
That's 2. Then Maddie Baxter 5-4. Syracuse on top. Syracuse tries to creep away with this one. Savannah Schweitzer makes it 7-4 with this tally, but then Kylie Dobson on the other end after this goal on this free position chance, 7-5, back and forth affair. Ian?
3.
That's 3. I told you I'd say it 3 times. Allegra Catalano cuts the deficit to 1, 8-7 late in the second quarter. Then Emma Ward just takes it herself 9-7. Oh my goodness, the number 5 team in the country, and Syracuse only up by 2 against Louisville at the half. Do not worry, because we did not mention Emma Tyrell, and we're about to mention her name right now. Tyrell scores, then Nicole Peroni cuts into the deficit 12-8. This is where Syracuse went off, though. The Orange went on basically an 8-0 run to extend the lead 20-8. Emma Tyrell had 5 goals. Adamson finished this game with 4 goals and 2 assists. Baxter creeps in. She had a hat trick in this one. Everything was clicking for this Syracuse offense. Emma Ward shuffles this behind the net, and Natalie Smith buries this one home. That made it 20-8 early in the fourth quarter. Kokoro Nakazawa got her cheese. She had 3 goals in this one, finished with a hat trick, the most goals for a Louisville player. Gracie Britton, though, wanted to get involved in the action. Louisville takes this one 22-12. But the big story in this game, Kate Mashesky, the all-time leader in Syracuse program's history in draw control. She finished this game with 440 career draw controls, but then had 12 against Cornell, and Mashesky stands at 452, past Kempney on that list.
And past Kayla Trainer on that list too. One heck of a player she was in an orange uniform. And for anybody saying that this is a fake record for Kate Mashesky, remember, her freshman season, the COVID-19 season, and last year tore her ACL halfway through. She is one of the best draw specialists in the whole country. And that whole country should be scared of a Syracuse team with a healthy Kate Mashesky this time of year. But should number 3 SU, who came into this week with its highest ranking this season, be scared of? I know he's not shown, but scared of Yale?
Cornell!
Yes, you get the point. Despite the sweet slogan, the answer to should the Orange be scared of the Big Red is no. That's because Cornell has not defeated its Central New York rival since 2006. They have not been partying a lot recently. Kate Mashesky has been winning a lot of draws, and Emma Tyrell has been scoring a lot of goals, especially if you give her a free position. That's too easy. Orange go up 1-0 18 seconds into the game. We just played the same clip twice. Oh, no, wait, that's just Emma Tyrell being automatic on the free position. It is 2-0, not even 5 minutes in. I'm getting knee slaps in the studio because I'm hilarious. By the way, Savannah Schweitzer, they say it's a yellow card because she stepped in the crease. They go to review. They say it's a goal. That's definitely a goal for Alexa Donahoe, and it's 3-1. Emma Tyrell, though, gets the Orange back up 3 with her third goal of the first quarter. That's what we like to call a hat trick. She finishes with 4 on the game. She didn't have any in the second half. That's because they face guarded her. She was so dominant. Megan Arodi gets on the board. Maddie Baxter, the former ACC Player of the Week, says, I'm still here. This deep Orange offense keeps on rolling. Cornell doing everything in its power to keep it close. The lead goal scorer, Josie Vogel, puts one in the back of the net. Back to the turf. Peyton Rowley takes a shot, loses the goggles, and scores nevertheless. 7-2 Syracuse. Emma Ward back in her bag, an unassisted goal. The lead up to 7 for the Orange. The Emma dilemma still alive and well. It's a dominant 11-2 lead at the break. The Orange only score 1 goal in the third quarter. That would be off a stick of Savannah Schweitzer, who now has multiple goals in each of the last 3 games. Watch out for her name as the season goes on. Her twin sister Delaney gets beat on the other end of the field in goal. That's Caitlin Slaminko, who scores. Emma Muchnick, though, with a fourth quarter hat trick. Syracuse, 4 goals allowed, its fewest of the season. Ben Spector is the master of a cliche, but I hear Rahil Jaswal is pretty good at that. Let's send it over to our Syracuse women's lacrosse beat reporter.
Some people say it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Now, that statement might be true, but starting fast does help you out. And that was the case for number 3 Syracuse women's lacrosse, as SU outscored Cornell 11-2 in the first half en route to a 17-4 road victory over the Big Red. After the game, head coach Kayla Trainer discussed what exactly went right for SU in the first 30 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's great when Kate was dominating on the draws, and then, you know, we were playing well offensively. I thought Emma Tyrell was really good. Obviously, went for the face guard in the second half, and they put a lot of more pressure on us in the second half. But, yeah, just overall, I was proud of them because it's cold and it's wet and rainy, and, you know, they came out and they played well right away.
Yeah, I think we really emphasized pushing the fast break, and I think we did a really great job as an offense in the first, all the way honestly through the whole game. And even after, like, I know it came out hot, but I didn't finish very hot, but I think that the team really picked up and showed how many threats we really have.
After starting the season 3-3, the Orange have now won 7 straight and have 10 wins. Next up for Syracuse is an ACC clash with Pitt at CNS High School on Saturday. Opening draw is slated for 4 p.m. Reporting from Cornell University in Ithaca, New York, Rahil Jaswal, CitrusTV.
Thanks, Rahil. With the win from Sholkoff Field, Syracuse finished 4-3 outside the ACC this season, unable to vanquish Northwestern, Maryland, or Stony Brook. The ride inside the conference with the most ranked teams, as you can see to my side, has been smooth. 6-0 smooth. Coach Kayla Trainer's crew notched top 10 road wins at UVA and Notre Dame. The Irish have been the only ACC squad to hand Boston College, which you see at number 2, a loss. The Eagles ended the Orange's last campaign on championship weekend. Syracuse can exact revenge 2 weeks from now at Chestnut Hill in its regular season finale. When we come back, Let's take a look at an SU team that just returned from BC. Syracuse softball scored 10 runs in a win to close their series at Boston College. Did the Orange keep the good times rolling in their home opening set? You'll find out on the bench.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for information on how to provide even better care for the person who once took care of you.
Hey, Hard, what's this? That's my resignation letter. You're resigning? Why? Because you're constantly ignoring me. You're half as active as you used to be, and you eat stuff like this. You've been putting me under a lot of pressure lately. That's why I'm ready to quit. I forgot. I'll do better. Please, don't quit on me. Okay, but remember, it's not what you say, it's what you do.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you.
Let's go for a walk.
Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's...
Welcome back to On the Bench, Easy and Nicholas. I'm Ben Spector, and we've covered quite a lot. But Ian, you know what the most wonderful part about sports is?
What is it, Mr. Cliche?
There's more!
Oh.
There's more.
Oh.
And to softball we go. Look, the diamond is beautiful. Nothing like some good pitch and catch. And the key about this Syracuse side is now these games can be played in central New York. The weather is nice enough. Kind of. But this past weekend, the Orange matched up, neglect the rain right now, with the Yellow Jackets and the snow tomorrow of Georgia Tech. So let's see how this series unfolded. A 3-game set at Skytop Stadium. So how numbers work is we'll start with game number 1 between Syracuse, a team 14 and 13, and a Georgia Tech side that's 10 games above 500. In the top of the third, Gracie Hillman steals second in a 0-0 game. She's safe, so then Madison Dobbins does good softball things and drives her home. So 1-0 Georgia Tech leads in the top of the third. The next batter in Mallory Black hits an RBI single, and it's just too easy for Georgia Tech because when the Jackets have a runner in scoring position, they end up driving them home. Dobbins scores, and Black moves to second on the throw home. Then we move to the top of the fourth. Jen Soleo steals second. This is deja vu. It's gonna happen again. She's safe at second. So then the next batter, Abby Hughes, decides to rip an RBI single, and it's just too easy for Georgia Tech. And Soleo scores. Hughes stays at first. Then we move to the bottom of the fourth. Mackenzie Foster rips an RBI single. Breen moves to third. Taylor Posner scores. 3-1 Georgia Tech. Could the Orange creep back into this game? I mean, it's not even over yet. But then a wild pitch happens, and those fielding woes that we discussed earlier turn to pitching woes. They continue to unravel for Syracuse. Georgia Tech extends the lead. Jen Soleo with the RBI single in the top of the sixth. That was the icing on the cake. 5-1, Georgia Tech takes game 1 of this series behind Jen Soleo, and ultimately Syracuse just struggling in pitching and on the field.
Well, Madison Nightben tried to do everything she could on the mound, but her team simply did not give her the run support. After scoring 10 runs in their final game of the series against Boston College, they get right back on the horse after that 1-run affair the night before, and it's more offense from Georgia Tech. Sarah Beth Allen to foul territory, but it drives in the runner, Madison Dobbins, the score, 1-0 Georgia Tech. How about a more traditional score? Tiffany Dominique with the ribby single, and Mallory Black trots around the bases to make it 2-0. Syracuse, spoiler alert, gets 5 runs on the board, though, in the home half of the frame. Ben, I know you're confused. Why did I just let it leak? It's because they're letting it roll. Layla Morales-Alves, a 2 RBI single to right. Kelly Breen moves up to second. Posner and Lopez score for the Orange, who take the lead against one of the top 5 teams in the ACC, and the good times keep on rolling. Madison Knight, a pitcher, a hitter. What can't she do? Morales-Alves comes around. It's 5-2 Orange, but the Yellow Jackets, they hit nukes. 5th most in the country. Tiffany Dominique, one of the top 10 second basemen in the land, and she had the best game of her Georgia Tech career. The USC upstate transfer drove in 4 runs off 4 hits. But the freshman, in her second ever game from Skytop, Mackenzie Foster, didn't even swing through the entirety of the ball, and it didn't matter. Play at the plate, not in time. Morales outscores. First walk-off win for the Orange, Ben, in 2 years. But do they win the series on Saturday?
Oh, well, that's a good question. And you know what, Ian? I got an answer for you. To game 3 of this series we go. Georgia Tech and Syracuse. The Orange coming off that walk-off victory. So, in the bottom of the first, Angel Hasso gets a single to left field. Next batter, Madeline Lopez, launches this one to right field, over the fence, a home run. Look, I love TV shows, but nothing gets me going like the Lopez and Hasso show, because that's what it was earlier in this game. Hasso goes to second on a fielding error in this one. Madison Dobbins is the one that makes the error. Clyde scores 3-0 Syracuse after Lopez hit the home run in the bottom of the first. Then Lopez with an RBI single. She drives in 2 on that hit. I talk about the Lopez and Hasso show. Ian, it's pretty entertaining, don't you think?
Oh yeah, I mean, this is easily getting Super Bowl ratings right now.
I mean, I would watch it, but Georgia Tech had a response. Top of the fourth, Reese Hunter with an RBI double to right field. 5-1 Syracuse leads. So you think the Jackets could come back in this one? Well, I'm here to break the news. They couldn't. Syracuse then continued to build on this lead. Bottom of the fifth, Kelly Bream with the single. Posner moves to second, and then Posner ends up scoring off that RBI rip from Layla Morales-Alves. 7-1 Syracuse leads in the bottom of the fifth. That's how this one will end. The Orange take this one 7-1, and Nathaniel Cunningham broke this whole series down.
Syracuse softball has been its leadoff hitter Angel Hasso and its 3-hole hitter Taylor Posner. However, today in SU's 7-1 slashing of Georgia Tech, it was the 2-hole hitter Madeline Lopez that really came in clutch. The right fielder tallied 3 hits and a career-high 4 RBIs to mark Syracuse's first ACC series win of the season. After the game, the right fielder said she just had to change her approach.
I had been talking to my Coach Will, a lot about path and just like picking one side of the plate, and I was able to see the good outside part of the plate today, and I think that really helped allow to just be so confident in the box this game.
It was all about just being productive. You know, I think we've done a pretty good job of getting some people on, and I think behind those getting people on has been strikeouts and unproductive at bats. So, you know, today we talked just about team mentality, right? Pass the bat and do what the team needs to do, not what you want to do, but what does this team need to do? And I thought they did a great job like that. We had a lot of timely hits today. We were very productive with our at-bats. So, you know, I think that just team mentality.
Syracuse's pitching was also on point today. Starter Madison Knight gave up the sole hit of the game to the Yellow Jackets, while Juliana Verney pitched over 3 innings of shutout softball. The Orange have a quick turnaround because they come back here to Skytop Stadium on a Wednesday to take part in a doubleheader against Canisius. First pitch is at 1 and 3 p.m. Reporting from Skytop Softball Stadium, Nathaniel Cunningham, Citrus TV.
Nathaniel, thanks so much. And you look at your screen here, Taylor Posner has been playing like she's on a mission. Look at the contributions that she had, especially against Boston College with all those hits, 3 hits, then 1, then another one. But then you look at games even before that, Norfolk State, the 3 hits there, the 2 hits again against Norfolk State as well. Ian, she continues to pile on offensively.
Was not expected. Hit under 250 in her sophomore season. Now an everyday starter in the outfield, Ben, hitting well over 300. Contact is king for Taylor Posner. She is the breakout star of Syracuse softball. But coming up, we go from a breakout star on the diamond to one on the tennis court. Our Syracuse beat reporter, Josh Richardson, joins the show and joins Ben to catch us up on how SU handled its final regular season road stretch.
Television? You haven't even bought a sofa yet. A motorcycle? When your father finds out, he's gonna flip his shoes with 2 buckles.
Come on, don't blame it on
What do you even need 2 buckles for? Mr. Big Shot, buying whiskey shots for everybody in the bar. From the looks of it, I'd say nobody even remembers. Feed the pig.
To make yourself feel okay to drive, ZWX.
You're not okay to drive.
YGKLVW. Regular use.
Welcome back to On the Bench. Ian Nicholas alongside Ben Spector. And Ben, it's time to talk a little bit of tennis. And for you, you have a little bit of history in the game.
Yeah, I played tennis in middle school. I don't know why I stopped in hindsight. I don't
Lack
remember
of athleticism?
Well, we didn't have to say it. I mean, you're not wrong, but we
Stephen
didn't
A.
have to
Smith.
say it. Yeah, exactly. I was a part of the doubles team, though.
Well,
First doubles, that's the thing.
Yes, Eunice Lamam, the SU head coach, might need you to get out there on the doubles court because while you haven't won a doubles point in 11 years, Syracuse hasn't in a month. Wow. They've fallen behind. I know, wow. They've fallen behind 1-0 in 4 straight duels before a weekend trip to Tallahassee and Coral Gables. And although FSU and Miami are both in the top 30 nationally, the Orange's last win came against last year's national runner-up, NC State, and that was despite falling in doubles. So when they lost to Florida State in doubles, it didn't set the tone, and they were swept for the first time since the UNC game a month ago. Now that sweep a little more acceptable because the Tar Heels are the reigning national champions. Florida State a top 30 team, but you would still expect a little bit more from the Orange this late in the season. So they take a hop and a skip around the Sunshine State and they move on Saturday to play Miami. And the Canes, well, they handed more damage to the Orange, but at least they didn't get swept because Anastasia Sisaweva, the Florida native and the University of Florida transfer, puts up the lone win for the Orange on the weekend. And to try to spin this one in a positive note with the ACC tournament right around the corner is our beat reporter Josh Richardson with Ben.
Ian, we're here, and we're here with Josh Richardson. Josh, thanks so much for taking the time. He's our tennis beat reporter. And Josh, let's just get right into it. Syracuse has lost 5 straight matches since its incredible upset against NC State earlier this season. What's the first step to breaking out of that losing skid?
Well, Ian just talked about it. They have to win doubles. It's pretty simple. When you have situations where you go behind so early, right? Head coach Eunice Lamam says doubles is a sprint, singles is a marathon. You have to get off to those quick starts. Something they haven't done lately. They haven't done it since March against Buffalo, March 7th to be exact. When you have these issues, it's just not something that's going to go well for Syracuse tennis. And when you're playing C- tennis against A+ opponents, you have to get off to quicker start. They're starting too slow, especially on the road.
I would say, we talked about my doubles career earlier on the show. I don't even think I could help in this situation. I probably haven't picked up a racket, by the way. You didn't ask. I probably haven't picked up a racket in like 11 years. So SU sits, speaking of 11, 11th in the ACC with just 2 matches to go against Notre Dame and Louisville. So how do you expect Syracuse to perform this weekend amidst all the struggles, and that could lead to a possible run in the ACC tournament? Can it?
Well, Ben, first, I want to see you out there. Can we get like a tryout, like a walk-on tryout for you there? No, seriously, I think it's a split that's going to happen this week for Syracuse tennis. And when everything happens like that, Louisville, not great this season. They're 0-9 in the ACC. They're 4-14 overall. Notre Dame's the 33rd ranked team in the nation. So the thing is we've seen Syracuse beat teams better than 33rd. We've seen them lose to teams outside of the top 75. You don't really know how it's going to go going in. We're going to see a good grasp on what's going to happen in the ACC tournament after the games are over, after the matches are over, I should say. And when we see that, it's a situation for Syracuse where Michael Jordan said it best, right? The ceiling is the roof. We've seen them beat these great teams, but the floor might be below the basement because sometimes they just can't get it done against the teams that they should beat.
But Josh, you know what they say in tennis?
What's that?
This is April.
It is April.
It's true. That's just an objective fact.
Do we still say that we sleep in May?
We sleep, at night when we go to bed. All right, that's Josh Richardson, our CitrusTV tennis beat reporter. Josh, thanks so much for taking the time.
Thanks
you can follow at @JoshRicchie_504. I don't know why I said 5. 5's a good number, by the way. You can follow Josh there. Josh, thanks so much for taking the time.
Thanks for having me, Ben.
Of course. But look, there's more sports going on. We got to talk about Syracuse rowing. We got to talk about Syracuse track and field. And for that, Ian and I, we got to run. We're going on the 2-minute drill. Woo! I'm out of breath running all the way over here. But Syracuse men's track and field, I'll just say, has much better stamina than this guy. That's because both men's and women's track raced in 4 different meets across the country this past week. And let's start with the men. Connor Ackley finished 4th in his section of the 5K, while Benna Anderson finished 17th in his at the Stanford Invite. Plus, at the Texas Relays, Jaheim Hales qualified for the finals in the 110-meter hurdles, but finished 7th in that last leg. All right, let's go from racing on land to racing on water.
From the track to the erg, 9th-ranked Syracuse men's rowing is ready to race. This weekend, SU's schedule begins against a conference that's near its end at the Pac-12 Invite. While the 4-squad round robin is hosted by number 8 Stanford and features number 15 Wisconsin, the race is headlined by 2-time defending national champ Cal Berkeley. The Orange's 3rd straight season-opening West Coast trip goes from Saturday to Sunday. And now we go back to Ben to talk a little bit of women's track.
Oh, we're moving fast. Had to rest my legs. But Ian, let's backtrack, pun intended. We go to the women's side of track and field, and Madison Nooner in North Carolina finished 4th in the 3,000-meter steeplechase with just over 10 minutes. That's a personal best. Plus, let's go back to that Stanford Invite. Ellie Lawler finished 3rd in her section of the 10,000-meter. In a separate section of the same event, SU Savannah Wark placed 7th. Lots of different runners have had immense success, both for the Block S logo and personally, but let's go back to the motion in the ocean. And look, I know it's not an ocean. I just wanted to rhyme.
From relays to 2Ks, the boys in the boat aren't the only crew on campus in the top 10. On the women's side, Syracuse rose to number 8, tied for the highest in program history. SU won 6 races against 5 ranked foes at the ACC Big Ten Ivy Duels. The second Varsity 8 led the way, sweeping its competition to win the conference's Crew of the Week. But this week, the conference to beat is the Ivy. The Cuse races number 5 Yale and Cornell Saturday from Saratoga Springs in the Capital District. When we come back on the bench, we'll go outside of just ergs and relays. We'll look at our performers of the week and our plays of the week on the bench.
Oh, you got it. You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. Got it. No.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early. You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
You tired?
I'm good.
I'm out of breath.
I'm good at cardio.
I'm not. We still got more show left. Welcome back to On the Bench. Closing up shop, PZ and Nicholas. I'm Ben Spector. But now it's my favorite part of the show. Performers of the week. We got 2 of them. Ian, start us off.
We'll start on the diamond, where the softball team won its first ACC series of the season, and a big reason why, Madeline Lopez, the sophomore, broke out, Ben, in Game 3, where she had a career-high 4 runs driven in, her first long ball of the season. Not only did she have a 2-run blast that you're watching there to set the tone, but then also had a 2 RBI single later in the game. And against a Georgia Tech team with a fantastic offense, Ben, she provided the punch to send the Yellow Jackets home with a series loss.
Well, Ian, Lopez is one half of my favorite TV show, the Lopez and Hasso show, so I like that pick as a performer of the week because Madeline Lopez. I just, she's very good.
That's Emmy Award-winning television.
I mean, let's get in Super Bowl ratings, like you said earlier. All right, we move from the diamond to the lacrosse field. The number 1 performer of the week, it has to go to Emma Tyrell. Here's this crazy stat. Over the last 3 games, so Loyola, Louisville, Cornell, we talked about all 3. You see it on your screen? 15 goals over those 3 games. 5 against Louisville, 4 against Cornell, 6 against Loyola. That's math?
It's so impressive bet you're just losing brain cells.
I know. I'm not good at math because I'm doing sports broadcasting, and there's
a
causal relationship between the two. But Emma Tyrrell, what she does is score goals, and she does it at will. She does it in bunches. She was doing it all week long. A big reason why Syracuse had so much success.
Right, and that was not something we expected early on in the year. She had under 4 points in each of the first 4 games. Now she is one of the best midfielders in the country. But we got to see, is she going to end up on our top plays of the week? This week, so impressive in Syracuse athletics, Ben, not just 5, 10.
That's a lot.
10.
You need 2 hands
plays.
for it.
Yep, and we're going to go back to the diamond to start things off. And I told you Madeline Lopez was good, but so is Mackenzie Foster. A walk-off double in her second ever game at home in front of the Syracuse faithful. The Orange win 6-5. Layla Morales-Alves safe at the plate. But she didn't even swing all the way through the ball. But it didn't matter.
Could have been a home run. That's some pretty impressive stuff. When you don't swing all the way through and you still get results, that deserves a spot on the bench's top plays of the week.
And that's number 10.
I know, it's number 10. We got a lot more. To number 9, we go to the lacrosse field. We go to Arlada Stadium. The ball movement. Spallina to Thompson to a cutting Sam English. On the doorstep, fakes one way. Liam Entenmann goes for that fake. English then scores. What a move from English. His only goal against Notre Dame, but it was a beauty. Look at this feed from Thompson, and English just does the rest. What a team offensive play, but what a finish from English.
I was focused less on where the ball was going and more on Liam Entenmann. When you fool arguably the best goalie in the country like that, you've got some moves. An All-America goalie and Laura Spence for Loyola doesn't matter, especially when you got Emma Tyrrell for the Orange. The Emma dilemma. Tyrell and Ward took over against the Greyhounds in a 19-13 victory. The question is, Ben, was that an ankle breaker or a turf monster?
Don't say turf monster. That scares me a little bit.
Number 21 is going to tell you it's a turf monster.
Emma dilemma in a poem about turf monsters. Now that is scary. Some Edgar Allan Poe stuff.
Ooh.
But this was great stuff from Will Mark. He's going down with minutes to go and just puts his stick up high and just makes a fantastic save late in this contest against Cornell. His body's moving one way, but the ball's going the other, and he makes the save, even though Syracuse lost in double overtime.
That guy's got to do yoga or something. The way his body is contorting, the way this ball is moving and grooving, things are flying all over the place on the bench. That's why Madeline Lopez has play number 6, her first home run in her sophomore season, jumping on the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets in Game 3 of their series, a series that, as we said, you see everybody rushing from the dugout, the Orange win.
Emma dilemma, moving and grooving. I'm looking forward to the next rhyme. Luke Roa, looking forward to the next fake. First we saw Sam English on play number 9. Now we see Luke Roa on play number 5. Liam Entenmann is just diving for these fakes, and Syracuse was taking advantage of it, even though the Orange lost 14-12.
No angle, no problem for Luke Roa, and another crazy lacrosse score for number 4, Peyton Rowley. BTB off the feed from Maddie Baxter. She was a non-factor on the Orange last year. Now, maybe a reason they make it to championship weekend.
Factor? Got Dr.
We're
Seuss
cooking
over here. Joey Spallina backing down his defender, making it too easy. He's making an Emma dilemma, if you will. But look, I mean, we've seen this play from Joey Spallina so many times, but every time I see it,
he's seen it too much.
Every time I see it, I think it just gets better.
Well, Emma Ward, you mentioned Emma dilemma. You play spoiler with a little deja vu. The flick's a little quicker, and it's a little bit of a no-looker as well. And a clean stick slam. It's a clean stick, and it's a clean goal. Remember, Emma Ward, one of the best two-way attackers in the nation, and that's why the Orange beat Loyola by 6 due to her efforts. Bang! Right to the turf monster.
Oh, please stop saying turf monster. But anyways, play number 1 belongs to the big 3-5 and Billy Dwan. Dumps this one between his legs for the 5th goal of his this season. And look, anytime Billy Dwan scores, it's special. But when he does it like this, it's unbelievable. Double 5-hole between his own legs and the goalie's legs. Are you kidding me? That's some spectacular stuff.
Just like you, Ben.
Oh, gosh.
You know, I don't want to get sappy. You texted me earlier and today and said, I'm going to get sappy here. Tonight's about fun.
Start this. It is about fun.
Because it's your last show here on the bench.
It's
and, you know,
true.
Billy Dwan's going to keep scoring goals, and you're going to keep doing your thing, but hopefully we can still have some fun without you, because the best thing about you is you laugh at anything, and you're just a positive vibes guy, and you're one of the best guys we have here, so thank you, Ben.
Ian, thank you. And thanks to everybody that has worked on this show. Thanks to everybody that has helped me get here, all my mentors and friends. Everybody here is unbelievable. Citrus is a great place, and On the Bench is a great place. And Ian, I'm closing out with you. We used to work together on Cuse Countdown.
It was a bad visual. Shout out Leo Silverman, 6'6", next to 5'5".
I asked if anybody would mention the Wagner Seahawks on this show because
no.
Our first show was Syracuse versus Wagner. It was a football game. But anyways, from Ian Nicholas, I'm Ben Spector, our executive producer, Max Gifford. Thanks so much for tuning in. And for now, our images of the week.
Third-ranked Syracuse is the hottest team in the country. But if there's anyone who knows how to put out the Orange's flame, it's the reigning national champs, top-ranked Notre Dame.
Shovels to Mule, and now Roa fakes and scores. He dunks it over the top of Entenmann. What a shot! Stevens rushes in, gets it to Alexo. Now Hiltz across field. Pass and a Spolina score.